boils and ghouls? Welcome back to Kalash Kamaz. I trust you all had a fantastic Halloween. So, today on the channel we are going to be talking about Davranov. Lately I've been getting some questions about my chest rigs and a few accessories I've been using. Most recently I got a question from a commenter about my cheek rest. And all these items, they're made by Davranov. Pretty much the only thing I don't use in competitions that, from Davranov would be my belt system. There are a variety of accessories from Davranov, so let's go through them. So before we show off some product, I think we should talk a little bit about who Davranov is. Davranov is a New York-based company from Brooklyn, and they started at about 2019, 2020. Somewhere around there. Originally, it just started with a collection of some chest rigs in a kind of a post-apocalyptic theme. They were really, really cool. You know, these are handmade, so they can be a little limited. My first experience with Davranov, found them on Instagram, and that's where they primarily sold from. The original account was by Davranov. These days, they have expanded. They do have employees, and they have their own shop. But originally, when it was by Davranov, these days, just to clarify, their new address is at Davranov on Instagram, just to clarify for you. But originally, they would post something up, post up a chest rig, and you just have to message them real quick and hope you were the first one. Being a person that makes chest rigs myself, I could definitely say something like this, it's gonna take you at least a week of work to get through this. I mean, the leather dyeing, the stitching, the cutting and layering, I mean, these do take quite a bit of work to make. I'm aware of that. You might have heard me mention in the past that they aren't the best for competition, but honestly, I've quite come around on that, and it's the only thing I really use for competition anymore, unless I'm, wearing a plate carrier or something like that. But yeah, I come to find these are so fast in competition, I just can't get enough of it. And I mean, they are primarily for AKs. They do primarily make AK stuff, so you will find some other rigs out there, like they do make some AR rigs now and again. They do, in the past, they have made some, G3 FAL chest rigs and whatnot, but primarily you're gonna find AK accessories. So Alex and Vlad, who are Davranov, they use a variety of materials, but the primary material they work with is leather. They are leather workers. However, you will find some, Cordura on the inside. You might find some Cordura on the outside. However, the primary material is leather. Outside of Cordura, you will find some that are, thinner cottons and whatnot, but they are pleated properly so that, they're not sagging around and stuff like that. And what I mean about sagging is these have some rigidity to them, it's leather, so it's going to form around your mags depending on, how hot and humid your area is, the longer you leave the mags in there and whatnot. And, it's going to kind of have a, it's not going to be tooled leather, but, it's going to have a little bit of that effect of tooled leather where, your pockets are going to stay there like that. And that is a really handy feature because, when they do work with thinner materials, such as Cordura or, thinner nylon cotton blends and whatnot, where they pleat them and everything. I'm talking about something like this. There's a lot of give. This is, there's no stiffness to it. So, this is a Russian V95 rig. So you can see I kind of got the matching Davranov one here. One of the really cool things about Davranov is, being that these are handmade, every single one of them is individualized. You're not just gonna find, 15 black chest rigs on the website one day. They're all gonna be different. And, even if it is just plain black, it's beautiful chest rig. If that's what you want, you can get it if you find the drop. They do drops weekly nowadays. However, they can still be a little tough to get sometimes. So, you do kind of have to be waiting for the drop if there is something that you're looking forward to, because they do show sneak peeks on their Instagram. So one of the reasons why I've kind of come around on why these are so great for competition is simply the sizing of the pockets. And, you know, if you notice, it's got a little bit of a vague reminiscence of a Chi-Com rig, but, you know, it's not a wraparound thing. It is affixed with D-rings, and you will find a variety of them from time to time depending on where they are sourcing them, or, you know, the inventory of the place where they source them from. So the most consistent thing you're gonna find with Davranov, number one, their shoulder straps. Number two, you're always gonna find leather in there. The quickness that you can pull the mags from these things after you've had them really broken in. This is my first Davranov rig. Both of these are my personal Dav rigs. I don't really have a purpose for having two. It is handy to use one for, you know, like 7.62 mags, and then I have my other one that I use quite a bit for like 5.56 and 5.45 mags and stuff like that. And no real reason other than, you know, that effect I was talking about where, you know, I tend to leave my mags in. I'll usually have one of these in my trunk ready to go. And, you know, so I'll leave the mags in there and just let it get worn in and broke in really nicely. But, you know, when you got 7.62, you got a little bit of a curve to the mag, so that's one of the reasons why I do like to separate the rigs between the calibers. However, you know, nothing's going to happen to it if you use, you know, a more curved mag or a more straight mag. There's nothing like that going on. Now, another reason I do really love running these for competition these days, and I do consider them a little quicker than a lot of other rigs, is simply due to, you see the pocket size, each mag pouch, it's a little lower down, you know, it's a little lower down than a lot of chest rigs, because, you know, like a Chi-Com rig, that's gonna come up to like right here on the mag, and you're gonna have a flap folding over. With the Davranov, being that we're not going into combat and you don't have to really worry about mud and, you know, dirt and all that getting on your stuff, you know, it's, you know, it's not something that's like, you know, terribly normal in most competitions, though it does happen. Being that that's the case, you can run the mags ammo side up. And what that allows you to do is, bam, you can pop it right in, you know. You don't have to have an awkward pull like you do with every other chest rig. And not that that's annoying or anything, but that is a lot quicker than having to do this. It's just how it is. That's physiology. I mean, unless you got T-Rex arms, I don't know. So to get a little more into talking about their accessories and their actual inventory that they generally have every week, they do make more than chest rigs, and they do make more than just AK mag rigs. I believe I mentioned a minute ago they did make some G3 FAL rigs, and, you know, they do make some AR ones from time to time. However, they do actually make mag pouches for your belt. You know, those are a little more rare these days. To speak of accessorizing them further, outside of some padding for your shoulders, if that's something you require, from the beginning, they have come with these little hooks on the bottom, these little D-rings. And, you know, in the beginning, I actually didn't know what the freaking hell they were for, man. I was like, huh, interesting. I mean, it's a spot to hang stuff from, but I don't know what it's intended for. So one thing I've been doing for the past couple of years is I've been hanging my gloves off of those, actually. But they do actually have an accessory for them these days, and we're talking about a dump pouch. And the dump pouch is pretty cool. I personally don't own one of the dump pouches, but they affix to the hooks on the bottom here. So just going through the website, you're gonna see, you know, mostly AK chest rigs in a variety of finishes. And, you know, we're talking, you know, got snake skin, gator and stuff like that. You know, you're gonna find themed ones, you know, like the original Davranov rigs were kind of like a Mad Max sort of apocalypse sort of theme, you know, very, very cool rigs. These days it's expanded into, you know, some more like what I would describe as, you know, maybe like a conspiratorial graffiti style, which I thought was really cool. And, you know, I could show you one of those here. It's just an overall cool piece. Kind of reminds me of the Banksy painting of, you know, the CCTV painting. And, you know, it's got the all-seeing eye there, so forgive me if I forget the name of each collection that they do, because they still do have collections. And, you know, each collection is its, you know, own little theme. And, you know, this one, I mean, I'm not really sure what you would call it, other than just kind of a goblin green. You know, it's just been my rig for a couple of years, and, you know, I've just been rocking the green one. Goblin shit. Now, really, the point to a lot of that is that not everybody wants to be militarized, and not everybody was in the military, and not everybody, like, you know, younger folks want to be in the military. However, they do love guns, they do love shooting, you know, and these aren't like built for competition. They're just really good for competition. Even if you're just a plinker or something like that and you want to flex on some buds, this is the best way to do it. I guarantee you. So, you know, it's kind of adding in that fashion world into the AK community. And, you know, that's not something that's unheard of. I mean, you know, it'd be crazy to say that none of us have any Adidas or anything like that, you know. Get over yourselves. You buy designer shit. Adidas is designer shit. It's just not Louis Vuitton. One thing I can definitely say is, you know, if you just want a less militarized style, you cannot go wrong with a Davranov rig. And, you know, you're going to be able to, you know, if you're there for the drop, you're going to be able to get something that's really unique, really personalized. One thing I should note, just so you are aware, and it doesn't sound like I'm trying to like fake you out or nothing like that. Like I said, these are individually made. They're made out of leather. They're made out of very fine materials. Actually gotten better and better and better. The quality of the leather, that is. So, being that, these are not cheap. You know, this is not like a $50 chest rig. This is not a $100 chest rig. Honestly, this is not a $200 chest rig. They're a little pricey, but it's one of those things where you can keep it for the rest of your life. It is a piece of leather. It's not gonna break. It's not gonna, you know, stitching is not gonna rip. You know, they know how to properly stitch these. Like I said, I build chest rigs myself, so the stitching they're using on in between each pocket, that's how you keep it forever. You know, this Soviet one I just showed off, the original, and just so you can see them side by side. So yeah, these are original old school Russian ones, man. I gotta tell you, the stitching on them is bad. It's pretty much always pretty bad. You know, they are made in prisons. I think I actually mentioned that on a surplus stash episode, but you know, these are actually made in prisons very often. And you know, the materials are not the highest quality in Russia. A lot of their textiles come from Belarus, and you know, we don't have to go into a you know, geopolitical economics lesson about Belarus, but historically, it's kind of a poor country. The goods they make are not usually the best, you know. It's like how people make fun of Chinese goods, even though these days that's kind of everything, and they're starting to actually make some pretty good shit. So yeah, original Russian rigs, not always the best quality. These are actually higher quality than original Russian chest rigs, and oftentimes, you know, you're finding some of the same materials, and they're just making them better. It comes down to that stitching, you know. I mean, obviously, they're using machines like everybody else. You know, hand leather work is radically different. You know, that's a different thing. That's more what you make like a Western belt out of, you know, stuff like that. More traditionalist, but, you know, these are modern, high fashion rigs. That's just what they are. And when it comes down to the fashion aspect of it, maybe you're not the most fashionable person. Maybe you don't want something that, you know, looks like a, you know, like a high quality Louis Vuitton purse on your chest, you know? Like, I personally like that shit because it's just craftsmanship. But there is more militarized stuff available. You got like this KLMK Bereska. I've also seen them do some TTSKO, you know. They do have some multicam, you know, there is actual American patterns. It's not just Soviet patterns. You know, you'll find a variety of patterns. Tiger stripe, you know, seen a flecktarn, you know, and when it comes down to the variety of accessories, like I said, they do make other stuff than just the chest rigs. They have, you know, stuff for your belt. This is all dependent on when they drop it. You know, they have their dump pouches, and there's new accessories coming out all the time. Very recently, they actually came out with gloves. The gloves were fucking hot. And of course, with the growth of the company came things like merch. You got hats, t-shirts, you know, that's not every single drop, but you know, they do make hats and t-shirts. You know, I have a pretty cool Davranov sweatshirt. If you notice the labeling on here, they have a thing with, you know, Russian tattoos. That's a constant theme with the company. So you have your Russian tattoos on the actual hoodie itself. So yeah, you'll find some merchandise. Every single one of their orders does come with a patch and a, you know, a little sticker pack, you know, and they will be of the Russian tattoos. And that's actually even one of the cooler collections they do regularly do is the Russian tattoo collection. You'll just find a chest rig full of Russian tattoos. What's another cool little feature is every single one of them will have a label on the inside that will include where it was made and the date. So kind of shows you. Very, very individualized when they're making each one of these. So if you keep just missing out on these drops and missing out on these drops, because I have heard that, like I said, these are limited, head over to the Kalash Kamaz Instagram. It's Kalash Kamaz on Instagram. Very simple. To just keep an eye out. We're going to be actually raffling off some Davranov stuff and give everybody a chance to get something. We'll also be doing some giveaways, and it's pretty much going to be exactly the same as the last time I did a raffle, except this time it's going to be all Davranov. It's going to be exactly the same as the last raffle. If you've been sticking around on here and watched my the Kalash Kamaz Instagram, you'll know that not too long ago I just raffled off a whole bunch of guns. I mean, you know, I'm talking a couple AKs, you know, there was a AR in there. There was actually two ARs. One of them was a 22. You know, a shotgun, a couple pistols, you know, I raffled off a bunch of stuff, you know. Most of that was not donation. A lot of that was actually personal, but as it is now, I just really wanted to give everybody a chance to, you know, get in on this while they can. And like I said, you know, it's going to be a combination of raffle and giveaway. So just keep an eye out and, you know, give a follow. And, you know, Instagram has its own little like notification bell thing. So make sure you hit that as well, because it'll keep you up to date. And, you know, for a small entrance into the raffle, or, you know, wait for a giveaway, you'll be able to win one of these fine rigs. And I figured I'd give you all a crack at this. I figured I'd give you all a crack at some Davranov rigs. And, you know, what we don't get rid of in raffle, we'll be giving away. Do have quite a few items. I do have quite a few items. So stay tuned to the Instagram. It's Kalash Kamaz at Instagram. Simple enough. Just want to give everybody a chance, because I do know, like we keep saying over and over and over again, these aren't like the most limited thing on the planet, but they are limited and they do sell out very quickly, sometimes within minutes.
Whole day outside. Hello, sir. It was such a beautiful day outside, I figured, let's finish this up outside. I mean, dude, Texas weather has been garbage, and we haven't done an outside thing in a long time. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this little rundown on Davranov products. This was not paid. I did not receive anything free for doing this. I just wanted to do it because I really do care about the brand. They really are good people. They really do make some really fine gear. So to wrap this up, today I want to shout out Flood Munitions. Go check out Flood Munitions on YouTube. Over at Flood, you're going to find a variety of different guns on review, as well as things like triggers, muzzle devices, and whatnot. One of my favorite videos he did talk about shotgun smoking stogies, you know, so go check that one out. And I think, if I remember correctly, the video that he put out right before that one was his own Davranov review. So Yeah, go check out Flood, man. He's a really cool guy, really sweet dude. I mean, you know, I think the whole group met him at Red October, so, you know, and that outfit, man, holy shit. If you have a chance, go deep dive into that channel. You'll find some really good stuff. I mean, there's things I was curious about, like Citadel shotguns. I don't really know a whole lot about shotguns, and that channel's probably taught me more about shotguns in the past year than, you know, I can really describe, because I just don't know a lot about them, frankly. So anyhow, boils and ghouls, y'all stay safe, have fun, do stupid.